And we're live. Yay! Welcome. Hello, everybody. Hello, ladies, and welcome to the She Network. I'm Taylor Thompson, and we're here live where we're sharing her excellence with my beautiful friend, Miss Kimberly Olson. I'm so excited to have you here. I'm just like, you're amazing.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet. So are you.
Ladies, I'm just gonna, before we get started here, it's like one of those things, like Kimberly and I, we connected over the phone. I reached out to her. I saw her stuff on social media. I just reached out to her. I didn't know her. I didn't know anything other than I loved her energy and I just loved her spirit. And then she actually reached back out and connected back with me, which was really great, just to get somebody on the phone. And I share this just as a lesson. So, the kind of relationships that you can truly build whenever you decide to pick up the phone. And you and I, we just bonded like immediately. And so I feel like you are like my sister from another mister,
Yes, I totally agree. Yeah. And we have such similar backgrounds and just, this says hustle. It's cool because it's actually made from wood scraps.
Yeah.
My friend has this company, but it says hustle. And I think I'm always like, okay, yes, you need to hustle, but you also need to have balance in your life, which I'm working on. But to create what you want, you just have to hustle sometimes. And I love hearing your story because I think we have that in common. So it's true. We're just magnets.
So anyway, well, thank you so much for taking out time from your family and your business just to be here and share with the ladies today. And ladies, as you are coming on, let us know you're here. Let us say, hey, this is so-and-so. Tell me your name. Tell me where you're coming in from. Let us know. You are excited to be here to hear this amazing lady's story and how you guys can connect. So let's kick this off here. So tell us about you, Miss Kimberly. We want to know all the good.
You want to know all of it. Okay. So I live in Austin, Texas, but we've been here for 10 years, but I'm from Michigan. So I talk really, really fast. So, and there's, it's neat. It's such a special place that we can be here to just be ourselves and be genuine and authentic, which I think is so special. So thanks for letting me be here and share my heart. And I do get a lot of people who see my success and they think, wow, she really just got this whole social media thing figured out. So I actually I wasn't on social media 3 years ago at all. I wasn't on it all. I had a Facebook account, didn't have an Instagram account. I can see some people popping on. I would actually just post a couple times a year with albums of my kids and stuff like that. So kind of known for social media now. So for those that are on here, entrepreneurs, this is so neat to share with you. You don't have to have any of that. You can literally teach yourself and learn everything that you need. So when my first daughter was a year old, we found out in my second trimester that I was pregnant again. So I had a 1-year-old. She just turned 1. I just finished nursing. I was like, let's burn this pump, right? Like throw the pump in the garbage. I was like so excited to be done. And I didn't do well with the whole mom thing. I had postpartum. I already had issues with depression, anxiety. It's in my family, pretty strong. And here I was, I don't know how you missed that, but like week 14, I was like, whoa. So anyways, I was pregnant again. Yeah. Don't drink the water at my house. And so I started getting really fearful around that. And I traveled for my job. I made 6 figures and I took my 1-year-old, she went with me everywhere. She's been on like 40 flights. And
so now let's talk about that. Like so what were you doing? Like you're like this major like entrepreneur success.
No, I was in corporate America.
Corporate America.
I forgot to share that. Yeah, I was in corporate America. I was doing sales and education for a natural skincare company, and I had like 5 states that I was in charge of. So I was on the road like 2 or 3 weeks a month with a baby, and it was nuts. I mean, I look back, I'm like, I probably should have just like got a nanny, but I was breastfeeding, and I don't know, it just was easier for me to bring her with me. She didn't love the bottle. And so I took her with me everywhere. So maybe that was part of the stress and the postpartum.
You think?
I mean, crazy. So I was thinking, okay, we're in the clear, right? I just finished pumping. Like this is going to be easier and I can leave her. And then we were pregnant again. So of course, a blessing. my husband had some health issues growing up, and so we were told that we maybe not have children. So we were very much like, thank you, God, but then flipping it into reality of, oh my word, I'm having another child. So you're going to have this baby, right? So I was 8.5 months pregnant with her. So my first one's Addison, and then we were pregnant with Elise. And my boss at the time flew in to do a sales visit day. And she, at the end of the day, I'm 8.5 months pregnant. We have to let you go. We are downsizing. The company's not doing well. We're in the red. We need to let you go. And I was like, how am I going to get a job? Like, you cannot interview like a rock star with this like big old belly, you know? So I remember that was the first time in my life I had like real fear, you know, like I remember I was driving home and I called my husband, I was in tears, and he's like, it's raining, you need to be safe, you know, like we'll figure this out. But I was kind of the breadwinner, and I knew our financial situation. We had bought two brand new cars, built our dream home, bit off more than we can chew. Daycare and preschool in Austin is one of the highest in the country. I'm talking like $3,000 a month for 2 kids.
Wait, what?
And I was like, oh my gosh, we're already paycheck to paycheck. We've got a new baby, and I just lost my job. So it was like gripping fear, like just cold to the bone. And I spent 5 months just like not handling it well. We had her obviously.
So like, because so you definitely talk fast. So I listen slow. So that's
hilarious.
So let's reel this back down a little bit, because you've mentioned several little nuggets here that, you know, first of all, like just the fact that, you know, pregnancy, the mom thing, like that was a disconnect for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, sometimes whenever, because I want to really talk to the moms out there, you know, because lots of times I think there's a lot of moms that maybe experience that and don't necessarily are vocal about that.
Oh no,
shame. There's
shame.
Yes. Fear, there's shame, there's guilt. So can you talk about that for just a minute?
Yeah, I actually think that the biggest mistake that we make when we're going through that, because I talk to a lot of moms later, is that we hide it and we go inward, because we're like, well, what's wrong with us? We're broken. I mean, I see all these Pinterest moms just crushing it, right? And even I live in a pretty nice area, and I see all these moms with their Lululemon, no judgment, but they're just rocking it, you know, they're so happy. And I'm like, but I don't know that they're cracking open the wine at 5 o'clock. Like, I don't know their stories, you know? And so it can be very isolating. So my advice to you would be to find a tribe. And that's what's so special about this is literally when things happen, I have a circle of women to go to. Like, I just actually had something happen over the weekend that was really, really not good. And I was in tears for a few minutes, but then I reached out to my people, and they put their arms around me, and they're like, don't listen to those lies. We know you, we know your heart, and you're an amazing person, and you're changing people's lives. Bounced back right away. So having a tribe, having people, don't go inward. And this is the thing, you're not different. Like, we are all messing things up. Like, we don't know what we're doing. I mean, seriously, this is baby, and you're supposed to like know how to put it to sleep and all these things. No, I was such a mess. I had no idea.
I really appreciate you taking time to share that. And, you know, really, you know, what you tapped into exactly my heart for this group, and this, you know, you call it a tribe community, this place, this place where women can really, really edify and encourage each other, no matter what the situation, no matter what the scenario. And I appreciate you bringing that up, because, you know, there's so many times that people do look outside of where they are, and they think that everybody else's life is perfect except theirs. And they're the only ones that have an issue, you know? And so I appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing that. So getting back to having these 2 babies inside of 1 year, being pregnant, like, I mean, crazy. Like, you talk about like, that is like fear. Like, what did you do with that mindset? Because that mindset fear is a crippling, like, paralyzer.
Yeah, I did not handle it well. I don't have a strong family support. I didn't have any mentors in my life. And so I just didn't know how to handle it. So I was trying to get a job locally, because how do you travel with 2 little ones? And I found it took 5 months. I did some freelance work, but it took about 5 months to find a job. I took a huge pay cut, almost half. It was an hour and a half from our house. Like, so I was in traffic 2.5 hours a day. a lot of days I'd see him for 45 minutes a day. I missed my little one's first steps. I do have it on video, but I missed her first steps. I would FaceTime into doctor's appointments because I was on commission. So I had to be there. I couldn't take time off, you guys. Like I literally was like, we aren't going to be able to pay the mortgage. Like we don't have money. Like we didn't do anything. We were beans and rice. Like we didn't travel. They weren't in dance. Everything that they got were hand-me-downs. My Christmas budget was $80 for 2 kids. Like, of course they're little. So they're like, ooh, a box. Like they didn't care. But as a mom,
Yeah.
it like crushed my soul. I'm like, I'm a failure, like I felt like such a failure. And so,
and
for
here's
me,
the thing, like, I think I want to stay here for just a minute because I think there's so many women because, the number one thing that every woman needs is security, especially, financial security. And whenever we don't have that, I mean, it affects who we are, our mindset, our behavior, everything about us. I mean, everything that you're saying, I mean, wow.
Right. Yeah, no, it's true. It was in the outer actions were a reflection of that insecurity and that feeling. If you're on here and if you've ever felt like less than before, just put like, yeah, I feel you, Kimberly, or, anything you want to share, that it's so common for people to feel less than or not worthy. And that's sometimes why people hold back from showing up on social media or reaching out to people. They're like, I don't want to reach out to her because who am I, and things like that. That's actually stemming from the insecurity. So you're saying that about feeling secure. Once you feel secure, it's like you're a totally different person. So yeah, I was feeling very insecure. It was a very low point. But of course, what always happens when, you hit rock bottom. So at the time, one of my friends kept reaching out to me about her network marketing business. And I told her no 8 times. I said to her, finally, I said, please stop texting me about this. She's like, you would be great. Like, she's this like fiery red personality and I'm not. I'm yellow. I'm like, I want to help people. But this is the thing too. I wasn't in the right place for it. I wasn't ready. I was in the midst of this like darkness. And so I have alcohol abuse issues on both sides of my family, and it goes up the chain. Like it's strongly rooted. And so when all of that was happening, I was so isolated. I was coping with alcohol. So for me, it was, a glass of wine after work, and then a glass of wine while I was making dinner, and then another glass of wine, in the evening. And so I had a little success with my network marketing business when I finally decided to give it a try, because she was persistent and she kept following up with me. And she said, why don't you just try the product? You want to help people. This is helping people with their, and I was like, oh, my love language, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I tried the product and I was like, okay, so if I do what you say, I'm going to make my money back and this is going to work. And she's like, yes. So I was coachable. I was a student and I started making some money from it. But my destructive behavior of self-sabotaging and the alcohol, I was a functioning alcoholic, right? Like nobody knew.
Even your husband didn't even know.
No, he saw me obviously having wine and stuff, but I was doing the like, he would be not watching or paying attention. And I'm like bigger swig, like he didn't realize. And my husband does not have that in his family. He doesn't have addiction issues. He's a very like social, like he's never ever, had issues with that. And so his brain doesn't go there, right? Like he's not like, is there a problem here? So I'm sure there was some things, obviously. But it was totally self-sabotage and it was my coping mechanism. And so I literally was to the point where I every day would wake up going, I suck. I should have worked on my business last night after work. I'm making some money here. This is my ticket. This is my ticket to get out of this insanity and be able to provide for my family. Like I could put my little one in dance, we could go on a vacation. Like I knew network marketing could do that, but I wasn't showing up every day to work on my business and do it. And so there was this vicious cycle of beating myself up every day. Can anyone relate to that? Where you just like wake up and you're like, I'm horrible, just that self-talk.
That self-talk, that sabotaging self-talk. So,
Yeah.
So what was the pinnacle? What was where did you crash and burn?
Yeah, it was pretty embarrassing. So it's weird even just saying it out loud, but It seemed more to me than it probably will to you, but I had booked myself on a TV show. I have a brand I used to have in the fitness industry. And so I booked a spot. I was going to be live in our local news. And I was really excited. And I woke up that morning because I had to get up really early and get ready and all the things. And I was completely hungover. Like, like if you remember like college, if any of you did that, where you like wake up and you're like, okay, good. I'm like, I don't know if you partied at all ever, Taylor.
Well, that's
So if you have
I have a few t-shirts that
okay, that represent. Okay. So in those wild days when you just overdid it, right? And so I was shaking, I didn't feel good. I felt really sick. And I was like, there's no way I can get myself together. So I had to reach out to the lady that morning. And I remember I was sitting on the steps and I had to text her and cancel. And it was really, really hard to get on. I mean, I had worked so hard to get this spot.
Wow.
And I knew what it could do for my career. And she was gracious about it, but I'm like, that put her in a bad spot. It makes me look bad. Of course, I just told her I wasn't feeling well. And I sat on the steps and I started crying. And I said, you know what? Yes, your mother had issues with this, right? And your father did. But then I watched my mom get help and clean up her life. She raised two kids with one income. She delivered pizzas on the weekend to pay for Christmas. Like I saw her be just like this warrior who was like, no, I'm going to overcome this. And I was like 5 years old when she got the help she needed. So I was like, I can't do this myself anymore. I keep trying and it's not working. It's got too much of a grip on me. And so I actually got into really, really deep therapy, like reprogram your subconscious mind stuff. Like all the modalities like Reiki and hypnotist, like all the things. It was referred by a friend and I was in it to win it. I was like, I'll do whatever you say, lady. So we did it all virtually and I had multiple sessions a week. I journaled every day. I told myself I'm awesome. And I was, done drinking. I was like, I'm done.
Wow.
And it took 6 weeks of every morning saying, you're awesome. You're a good person. People love you. Today's going to be a great day. It took me 6 weeks of telling myself this pretend story where one day I woke up and I felt happy. I felt good about myself. I was like, you are good. You are awesome. You can help people. And that was when I started building my business on social media and it totally took off.
Like this story could have turned out so incredibly differently.
Yes.
I mean, like, first of all, the fact that you had the wherewithal to even recognize I can't do this alone.
Right.
I mean, there's so many people that walk those shoes that can't even grapple that fact right there.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you did. And thank goodness for your mother, who was such an amazing role model for you to follow after. Well, I really appreciate you, being so vulnerable, being so transparent about that journey because, it's one of those things that people don't understand addiction. And if they've been in it, unless they've been in it, you know what I mean?
Oh no, they're like, just quit. Like, what's your problem? And you're like, oh yeah. I haven't tried it just, because you want to, and it's so hard to explain it when you're in it. But really, like now that I've learned about like, the ego and different things, it's that ego and it has such a control on you that it literally, it's like driving the train, and so that's why working on yourself every day. And like you said, the security piece of telling yourself a different story until you truly believe it. And everything goes back to mindset. Like you can learn Instagram stories and that script of what to say to people. But if you don't believe in yourself and have that posture and like really think that you have something to offer, then you're not going to see the results, or you will see, and then you'll self-sabotage. So I really think it's important for everybody to do that deep work of training your mind, that painting the vision of who you want to become and telling yourself that you are awesome, because each and every one of you can have that same transformation in your own life.
So I saw one of your posts that you said like one of your birthday presents you want to do NLP like certification. Mm-hmm. So does that stem from this experience that you had?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So it's kind of neat because I do business coaching and group coaching. And obviously I'm actively in network marketing too. So I've got multiple things going on that I do, but it's been really cool because whenever people come to me, they see my success on social media and they think that's what we're starting with. So as soon as they pay me, I'm like, okay, first session, mindset. And they're like, what? Wait, I want to learn how to do Facebook Lives. I'm like, oh no. there's some stories you've been telling yourself, and we're going to figure those out right now, and we're going to reframe them. And so we go through activities that I've put together, and I always start with that. But the cool thing is there's all these women, you guys in this group, you're looking at each other going, oh, she's got it all together. Wow, she's just, man, she's a rock star. When I get to hear what's really going on, we are all alike. It is mind blowing, the destruction and the negative thinking that's happening.
Yeah.
And it's just these amazing women. So that's why these stories and this community is so important for you to realize we are similar, and that you do need to see that in yourself and go, okay, she did it, so I can do it. So just acknowledge those things, whatever those are, and do the work on it, because it's legit. And you can start identifying it too. So like if something happens external, like say your husband's like, oh, that you're always on your phone and that business isn't even making you any money or something negative, you'll start to learn to recognize that that's his issue. He's projecting something on you, or maybe he just wants a little snuggle. Maybe he's like, I just want her to come sit and watch a Netflix show with me or whatever. Like you'll start to learn and see your life a little differently instead of just being defensive and kind of being harsh with things. You'll start to show up differently.
I love that. That's such great advice because, so many times, how, and not to derail from you in the conversation, but so many times we become, because women are natural, we are responders and we respond to what's in front of us and what's being said. And unfortunately, the way we were raised in that mindset and all the baggage that we carry, we always take it or have a tendency to take it in the worst, most possible way. That can be intake, and then we meditate on it. And then before you know, we're in a downward spiral going, I have no friends and nobody likes me. And
I'm horrible. Yes, totally. It's so true. It is so true. We just do that. We go there. We think like, oh, people are talking about us. Or have you ever had it where you texted somebody and then they took a while to get back to you and you're like, oh my gosh. And then they're just like, oh, I was busy. What's up, girl? And you're like, oh, it's like so ridiculous.
I know. It's and it's so interesting because as women, I think we all definitely embrace that piece and go through those mental gyrations, those mental exercises that really are so ridiculous if we just get a hold of our thoughts. So anyway, I'm super excited and congratulations on getting that sounds like a lot of fun actually.
Thank you.
So all right, so let's talk about this. So now you've 6 weeks, you've battled this, you've conquered this monster, this giant. I mean, that's a huge accolade. So then what? Give me a time frame on this.
That was 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
And haven't touched a drop of alcohol since. And it's so interesting because I feel like my work, because I've found out like who I am by getting, and it's not always alcohol for people. Sometimes it's drugs, or even it can be shopping, it can be eating, it can be watching Netflix or whatever. It's different things for people. But once I got clear and free and removed that from my life, it was like everything started falling into place for me. It was like I became so good, and I am now. Like people are like, "What's your business plan?" I'm like, I don't know. I just go by my internal guidance system. Like I get guided all the time now because I can hear it now. Before I couldn't hear it, right? And so I guess it's the ego and the soul and all the things, whatever you believe. But so interesting of how that's happened. So what happened after that is I started going live on social media and started doing Facebook Lives every week because I was coachable. I was watching people, what they were doing. And I was like, okay, I don't have an audience. You guys, I had 250 friends on Facebook. Nothing. Okay.
So I really want you guys, ladies, come on. Like, I want you to take some notes here because this is such a powerful story. Please jot this down. Please take some notes. There's going to be so much value in it's what we've already heard, but even now, let's.
Thank you. So I started doing Facebook Lives once a week, every single week. I've never missed a week since then, and that was the fall of 2017, so almost 2.5 years ago, and haven't missed a week since. I started posting every single day. I started a Facebook group. I started nurturing. I started learning about attraction. I started just putting so much value out there that people started asking me to train them. They were like, we love how you teach. Will you teach us how to, whatever it was I was doing? So you guys, I was not an expert. I just was doing it. And then I would get results, and then I could teach the results, right? So I monetized my brand right away. So it's called the Gold Digger Girl. But basically, I started doing workshops, small boot camps where people would pay and I would coach them and train them. And so all of these people were my peers. They were people in other network marketing companies, but maybe they didn't have it from their team, or maybe their upline was still doing more like in person. My whole thing was social media because I was so busy. I was still working full time. I mean, I had no time to build this business. It was crazy. And my husband used to travel 2 weeks a month. So I had 2 babies in diapers. He's traveling all the freaking time. We didn't have a babysitter or any family. I don't know what I was thinking. I think I was just like, get out of debt. I'll do it myself. Get out of debt, you know? So Elise, I'd like put her, you know, in the crib, and then I'd race down and hurry up and like do the video until she start crying. And I'm like, guys, I gotta go. And I like wrap it up and then like go. I mean, it was nuts. But I could see the vision.
I love this. I love this story because this is so, my gosh, this is like, you know, I've always told, like, because you're doing this full-time around a full-time job. You are you're the proverbial nip and tuck it. I always said, like, you have to make time, and you have to nip and tuck it where you can, and get the most done in the time,
the little nooks and crannies. Yes,
in the little nooks and crannies of time that you have. And if you do it and you're consistently do it, it works.
It does work.
It's so powerful. And I love what you're saying, the fact that, you know, you didn't start with a following. You just started doing something and making it work and bringing value. And then people are like looking at you. So, you know, the thing is, like, do it, because most people will sit there and analyze until they're paralyzed and won't do anything until they have it perfect. That's not the case. You crushed that. Yes. And then you started getting some results. People are starting like, what the heck is she doing? Now you're the people that are sidelined to you, parallel to you, and you're showing them what you're doing. You know, I always said, like, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, right? So, I mean,
it's true. Yes.
I mean, and so, you know, all of these little things. So now, and you're doing this around your family, you're doing this around your children, you're doing this full time, and now you're building a business. What's happening with the business? How is that paying off?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So it took about, because if you've started doing videos and stuff and you're not getting the traction on it, also and that must be something about 6 weeks, but it's about 6 weeks in. I'll never forget, in one weekend, 4 people reached out and joined my team. And I never had that happen. And I was like, what is going on? And guess what they all said? I've been watching you for a while, and I love your style. I want to know what you're doing. They didn't even know what I was doing, you guys, and they wanted to be on my team. I was like, okay, cool, right? Like, it was all new to me. Couldn't believe it. And so I started learning about the power of attraction marketing, right? And so I just, like you said, nooks and crannies of my day, and I was on a mission. I could see the vision. And this is the thing. Weird things would happen. Things would come up. I would get haters. I would get nasty stuff that would come up because people, you know, it's just part of it. And I had to pick myself up and keep going. I never stopped, because so many times people get going and then they stop. It's like popcorn. You can't make popcorn if you don't let the microwave go for 2 minutes straight. So stop, go, stop, go. I didn't do that. I just kept going. Like you said, Taylor, I was consistent. So it's making a non-negotiable for yourself. My non-negotiable was every single day I would offer value, whether it was posting on Facebook or whatever. Every week I went live in Facebook. Every single week I went live in my Facebook group. So I always posted every day, and I responded. If people commented, I was like, hey, and I put them on my list, put them on my list. And I was just really organized, and that's it. And the only way I was able to make this work was because when I got in social media, I didn't scroll. I got in, I was effective, and I got out, and then I had to be mom or working or whatever, right? Because it was just, I'm not kidding. There was no time.
Okay, so let's just let's just have a conversation about this piece right here, Kimberly.
You're so cute.
Oh my gosh, this is so good, because how many times, like, you know, and listen, ladies, I know you do it because I've done it, and I do it. I catch myself doing it too. I'm like, stop, because you get involved in other people's lives, and, you know, and you go through the scroll and you start seeing, and then you don't get anything done. Because
Hmm.
then you go, well, but they've got this. And then you start, here's the thing, you start comparing yourself to what you're doing, what they're doing, what this is happening, that's happening. It's such a dangerous place to be, such a dangerous place. So I love the fact that now that's such a discipline and such a mindset discipline that if you can, especially have limited time to adopt that right there,
Yeah.
and get out. Love that phrase. Get in, get out.
Get out. Yeah. It was and you know what it allowed me to do? Like you just said, I didn't see what anybody else was doing. And if I would have been comparing myself to other people who'd maybe started at the same time, or maybe other people trying to do what I was doing, I would have compared and been frozen and started playing all those stories, in my head. So not comparing, I think, is huge, like you said. So I just kept going and really learned about like systems and automation. It just developed some great skill sets that I was learning, implementing, teaching, and people were getting results with what I was teaching. And so I've grown my social media following to almost 150,000, all organic, which is crazy. I have a weekly podcast. I have 2 best-selling books. Have learned obviously how to build teams and coach and mentor other people to do the same. But the cool thing is, when you're tapped into this and you really go all in, you become obsessed. Like I am so obsessed that I don't have to motivate myself to work on my business. So if you're just like, oh, I don't want to prospect, when you learn about how to utilize attraction marketing and offer value and then people love it, you will find your place. You're going to find your people. You're just going to be like, you start to realize you have a duty at this point. Like I can't stop now, because if I stop, there's somebody who I'm not helping. So it allows me to just be driven internally and just have my cup filled up so I can be a better mom, a better wife, right? And be able to change our family tree, be the mom that I want to be, but also be there for my people too. So it's really has been nuts, but it all had to happen this way for me to appreciate this, because I do every single day. I'm like, thank you, God, that I'm healed and I'm able to help other people too.
Wow. Okay. So many rabbit trails I can go off on everything that you said just there. Like, but I'll just take this right here, because you said a couple of things, and that's this, where a lot of people really get derailed in this arena, is that they start analyzing, they start paralyzing themselves. But the thing that you said I want to tap into is the value that you're giving, and focusing on what you're giving and what you're bringing to help someone else. And I think people really lose sight of actually what that looks like and what that really means, because I'm such a visual, I like visual things. So
Me too.
I always like, it's like you've got one finger pointing out where you're giving value, but where the real value is, you've got 3 coming right back at you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're giving with 1, but you're hearing with 3. And so it's you that gets the value, like, okay, I'm doing, because I'm giving value, you're pouring it out, it's coming back to you. It's like this boomerang thing. And so whenever you focus on the activity, the results are inevitable. The results are, and that's all you've been doing, is focusing on the activity daily, and the results are the results are appearing without question, just based on what you shared. And so oh gosh, I just adore you.
I adore you too.
So let's talk, like, what would you tell the ladies here? Because you've really, and we really didn't even tap into this piece right here, because I know in the process of all of this, you actually changed companies, because the one you were with didn't align with what you wanted to do in the social media realm. So what advice, what would you tell the ladies, like, if they're hearing you and they see all your stuff and they're like, oh my God, I love what she does. I love what would I do? Where would I start? Give them maybe some tips, maybe, because we're going to do a training, ladies. She's going to give you some value for sure in the membership site. But just for you guys to walk away with some things today from this interview, what would be some of the things that 1 or 2 things?
So the 1 or 2 things I would do is I would start with putting content out there on your personal page, in your stories. And if there's like, oh, I don't know how to do stories, you gotta be coachable, and you have to be resourceful, and you gotta let that story go that you can't figure it out. Posting on your page every day, going in your stories, and start showing up. Pictures of you, selfies with the story is what I call it. So it's not glamour shots, hashtag blessed. It's, I'm making this face today because you know what? I wasn't feeling so awesome this morning. I actually didn't want to get out of bed. This is pretend, by the way. I didn't want to get out of bed. My kids jumped, woke me up this morning. And I sat down and I wrote down 5 things I'm grateful for, and it shifted me. And I wanted to share that with you today to encourage you. If you're just kind of not feeling it, it's the case of the Mondays. What a challenge for you today is to write down 5 things you're grateful for. Feel free to share one below. Happy Monday. So instead of hashtag blessed, you're actually offering value, because if someone happens to see your post and they're not feeling so awesome, guess who helped them get out of that funk? You did. Yeah. And you're sharing yourself. So the more they see your face, the more they hear your voice. That's why visual, you talked about that, is huge, because you're not with us right now, but us being in this interview, you feel like you're sitting at the table with us, having coffee with us. You feel like it's a girls' chat. You feel connected to us because you're seeing us on video. I feel like I already know you, Taylor. Like when I meet you for the first time, I'm going to hug you, but it's going to be like, oh yeah, it's my old friend forever. Right?
Yeah.
So you can do that through your social media. And then what I want you to do is I want you to pay attention to what people are responding to. So let's say you're in health and wellness. I want you to, instead of being like, I sell supplements, I want you to back out of it and think of yourself as painting the picture of what it's like to be in health and wellness and an active lifestyle. You know what? I'm not a CrossFit gym mom and I don't run marathons, but when we go for a little stroller run, I'm taking pictures of that, right? Or if I happen to make a yoga class, I'm taking pictures of that. So you want to back out and showcase the health and wellness. If you're in beauty, you're not selling makeup. You are a beauty influencer. So you're going to show stuff in that realm. And I want you to start paying attention to what posts people are responding to, what stories people are paying attention to, or maybe interacting with. And then the second tip is to create a Facebook group. It's not going to be a product-driven Facebook group. You're not selling in there. It's all about value. So when you see your audience loves your inspirational stuff, then girl, you go do something, like what Taylor has done in your own way, obviously. Maybe you help corporate moms get out of the cubicle. It's like, I call it nice girls can get the corner office, right? And so you can help those moms, or maybe it's helping the new mom like me who's in that dark space, and you're there to love on her and cheer her on. But you're going to figure out what that little niche is going to be. And guess what? That's where your people are going to come from. You're going to offer value. You're going to pour into it. You will get people who are like, you seem really energetic. And how did you lose that baby weight? Tell me more. And it's amazing when you offer value, like you said, Taylor, point that one finger out, you get droves of people coming back at you. And you do those 2 things, you guys, you're going to not be able to keep up with the leads. I promise you.
I love such great advice, such great advice. So I have to tell you something. That was so good. I was taking notes, but I just figured out something. Like I'm so not very technically smart,
savvy.
So look, watch this. I can actually show their comments on the screen.
Oh, that's my girl. Hey girl, what's up?
She says, I feel you for sure. In such a low point of myself, trying to balance dealing with health issues from chronic migraines, MS. Oh my gosh, I feel so frustrated. I feel like move forward and take 20. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Hanging on. Well, is Shamika, is that her name? Shamika? Is that your girl? Okay, Shamika, we believe in you, girl. You've got this. You are with the right group of ladies who are going to cheer you on. And here's the thing. Just one step forward, it's not 20 steps back. Even if it's half a step forward today, it's progress, right? So
have you heard, Taylor, I don't know who said it, but it was so good. It was a story about somebody who he had gone through some major struggles. And what he did to start is he said, okay, all I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the next minute. This guy was like, I have got to find the resource for you for this 1 minute. And then he was like, okay, I'm going to focus on the next hour. I'm going to get myself in a good place. I'm going to get through the next hour. I'm going to focus on being positive, get through the next hour. Then it was the next day. Then it was the next week. And he would go longer and longer stretches of time before he was completely had done this transformation with his life. So for you, girl, like you said, don't worry about the big picture, because when you go down that rabbit hole, you start to stress yourself out. You figure out, what can I do today to be the best version of myself today? That's going to look different because you're not feeling so awesome right now. So what can you do today to show up and be the best that you can and give yourself the grace, because you're beating yourself up right now. You got to let that stuff go.
It's so true, Shamika. I mean, like, how many times, I mean, like, here's the thing. Sometimes we always look at the things that we don't get done or we didn't accomplish for the day instead of focus on what we did.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and so, I mean, when it, especially, I mean, and just not to derail about me, but I mean, just a few years ago, I was in a major, major health crisis myself, you know, and there was some days it was just all I could do to get out of bed and put my clothes on.
Yeah.
And that was like big because I was in so much pain in what I was battling. And so you've got to celebrate that, because it can so consume you.
Yes.
Of what you didn't do,
Mm-hmm.
instead of celebrating the little things that you did do. And especially whenever you're walking in this arena. And because, and this is something that Larry always taught me, is it could always be 1 degree worse.
Oh, that's so good.
No matter what you're going through, it can always be 1 degree worse. And so now you can think about what you are grateful for. It really changes perspective. So I hope that helps you. So this is really cool. So look, this is,
I didn't even know that you could do that. Go Taylor. Nice work.
I didn't either. I mean, like, look, watch.
Oh, hi, Alice. What's up?
Do you know Alice?
I love her.
She is amazing. She's actually doing our retreat for the She Retreat. She's amazing. So, okay. So I didn't mean to derail on that, but I'm so excited
that's okay
that we figured that out today. So the last thing, so give the ladies, like, because you obviously all about mindset. I mean, do you have like a book that you're reading right now, or maybe a go-to, like, this is my resource all the time? Like,
yeah. So one of the books that I recommend to everybody for mindset, because most of you are in a place of growth in your business. And whenever, okay, let's say you really want a rank advancement and you're just like, what is the problem? Like, I'm doing all the things. Well, there's actually things you need to grow as far as leadership, capacity, mindset, emotional intelligence. There's things that need to grow in you to handle that team. So if you can work on the growth piece, that stuff will show up for you as long as you're doing the activity and the work. So the book's called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. I mean, I love books. I can rattle off a million of them. Rachel Hollis is my neighbor, by the way. Still haven't ran into her, but I'm going to keep trying. So she's, of course, a gem. She's dynamo. But as far as like understanding the way that we self-sabotage and we upper limit. So here's an example. You're like, all right, I'm so inspired by these ladies. I'm going to go prospect right after this. And as soon as you get done, you sit down at your desk and you're like, because you need to start reaching out and you only have 30 minutes, then the bus is going to come for your kiddos. And you're like, I can't, there's no way I could do this in this mess. This desk is a mess. And you start cleaning your desk and 30 minutes go by. Oh, the bus is here. And that night you're like, oh no, you actually just hit an upper limit because you have these like limiting beliefs that are holding you back. So he teaches you in the book what they are. You can pick a fight with a spouse after a great vacation. That's self-sabotage. You're upper limiting. So he's going to teach you how to identify those things. And you hit on this before. You're like, it sounded like you became aware. And that's everything, because when you're a guardian of your thoughts, you're able to catch yourself when you start being a silly person that shouldn't be saying certain things about yourself or actions like that. And you can redirect.
Yeah.
You can redirect and say, no, my desk, I can clean it later. When the kids get off the bus, I'll do that. Right now, I'm going to knock out 30 minutes of prospecting. And so you can learn to have more control of your minds. I love that book.
Love that. I love that. Love that. Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, it is Jim Rohn, it says for things to change, you have to change.
Yes.
For things to get better, you have to get better, right? We have to take responsibility. So, and then, so do you have a favorite quote, a scripture? Do you have a couple of them that's like you meditate on, or like, when you feel yourself moving down that path, or what do you use to grapple, like stop and then redirect?
Yeah, I have a couple. One that's in my desk right now, it says, prayers go up and blessings come down. And so it's so funny because I was telling you, I was sharing, I had some struggles this weekend. And last night I was like, you know what? I did turn to my tribe and I kept telling myself, like, in my truth, but I didn't stop and say, hey, God, like, I need you right now. And I didn't. And I was like, oh, kind of left him out. But I'm like, no, because the way I live my life, like, that's just who I am now. But it's a reminder that, like, we have to ask for what we want. And in order to receive those blessings, we have to ask, but we also don't need to apologize for asking. You know, I have big goals, big dreams. I'm okay making a crap ton of money now. You know, like, I'm pumped, like, bring it on. Where before I would have been like, oh no, that's greedy. So blessings come down when we send those prayers up. And my other favorite one is Earl Nightingale's quote, you get what you think about most of the time, and that's the greatest secret. So what people don't realize is what you're seeing today. And I know it's hard if you have physical pain and you're like, how did I bring this onto myself? Or, you know, a death in the family or something like that. But it's not really necessarily speaking to that. But overall, what you're seeing right now is showing you what you've been thinking about the last few months or year. So what I want to encourage you to do is be spending a lot of time daydreaming, spending a lot of time thinking about what your life is going to look like. I quit my job a year and a half ago. And what I did that whole time leading up to it is every day I visualize myself doing stuff like this. I visualize myself coaching a team, being like team call and all these people getting on, wanting to learn. I visualize being here. I'm home every day at 3:20 to get Addison off the bus. Like, you guys, I didn't even see my kids on Mondays for like half a year. I missed them every Monday, like a whole day. I didn't see my kids. So I visualized and I thought about it. And I actually have a vision wall because, you know, a vision board's too small and it's behind my green screen. And I flip it, and my girls, they put stuff on there. They have their own stuff, but I'm able to look at it and go, I'm going to manifest that. Oh, I have a new idea, and I just put it on the board, and I have faith that it's going to come into my life, and I think about it. So the more time you spend thinking about the things that make you feel good, then that's how you attract them into your life. So you get what you think most of the time. So if you're thinking negative thoughts, you're going to get that. But if you're thinking, no, I'm awesome, I'm a great leader, I'm a great mom, I'm money, you know, I can attract money, you're going to get more of that in your life. So those are definitely some of my favorites.
That's really great. I love Earl Nightingale. You know, he's like one of the founders of mindset and the
Awesome.
and like it's such a powerful thing. So, and what you said too, I mean, like I think about that because, you know, just being believers of I mean, this Joyce Meyer always says this, you know, we need to go to the throne before we go to the phone.
Oh, nice. That's fire.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that is. So I was like, I always try to think about that, you know, before I want to pick up the phone to the girlfriend or, you know, go to the tribe, like, okay, you got first priority. I'm going to go there first. And, you know, maybe,
Yes.
yeah. So
No, that's awesome. That's a really good habit.
yes, yes. Well, so this has just been so amazing. I'm so much value, and I'm just so glad that we connected. I'm so glad that I was bold enough to reach out.
I love it. And I had a major girl crush on you. So I was like, Taylor Thompson messaged me. Like, what? I was so excited. Yeah. Yeah. Because I follow you and Larry, obviously. And I've learned so much from you guys. And I was like, she knows who you know how that is. But I mean, honestly, you are just one of those people in our industry that are helping elevate it. And when people that have had success, you're not just in your slow space with your team, which is okay, or you know, or retired from it and, you know, enjoying life. You've decided to pour back into us. So there's so much stuff you've learned that you can pass that torch, you can give that to us, and then exposing us to each other. I mean, I'm so thankful that you're doing this for real. We really need this in our industry.
Well, thank you. Well, I mean, I'm glad that you resonate with my vision and what my, you know, I have big, 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 big visions. I'm like you. I'm gonna have to make.
You need a vision house.
I need a wall. I need a wall. Yeah, I need
Vision room.
for what I'm thinking. And so, but I appreciate you affirming that, because that really, it does light my fire, and it does make me, because I do love this industry. I do want to give back. I want to preserve it. I want so many other moms to have the life and the experience that I had to have with my children.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been such a blessing, and I want to give that back. I want to give that back, you know, to moms like you. Anyway, it gets me excited.
Please do. We want it.
So sorry.
No, don't apologize. I love it. Girl, don't apologize, right? No, Rachel Hollis.
Girl, wash your face. Okay. Okay, awesome. Well, I hope you ladies had some value. I hope you guys blow her up and connect with her. How can they connect with you? Because I know that they're going to be getting a training from you, and
Yes.
whatever she gives, I know it's going to be amazing. But is there some ways that they can connect with you outside of the She Network too?
Yeah, for sure. You can follow me on Facebook at The Gold Digger Girl. It's GOAL. So I'm on Facebook and Instagram as The Gold Digger Girl. And then I also have a podcast called The Gold Digger Girl. And I'm actually, our interview Taylor and I did is so good. She tells her story. It's amazing. That's going to air this Wednesday. So if you're watching the replay, it's episode 88, I think.
So maybe, would you mind posting that and
I don't mind at all.
And sharing that with the ladies? That would be awesome. And then that way they can see your
Yes,
podcast.
I will do that.
That would be so cool. Okay. All right, ladies, you guys have an amazing week. Awesome. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much, Kimberly.
You're welcome.
And we're signing off. The Taylor Thompson, the She Network. Bye.